I have already reviewed the Arctic Liquid Freezer 3 280, which left a very good impression on me. In this review I will look at the top model of the line featuring a 420mm radiator for even lower CPU operating temperatures. The Liquid Freezer 3 has an upgraded cold plate and VRM cooler. The latter uses a fan installed on the top of the block which sends air around the CPU socket and helps cool down the mainboard's VRMs. Arctic offers an LGA 1700 contact frame in the coolers bundle to replace the stock one. The stock one locks the CPU to the socket at 2 points, leading to possible uneven pressure points that affect the contact surface with the coolers block. Arctic states that thanks to the provided mounting frame to LGA 1700 sockets, the CPU is evenly locked to the socket, ensuring better contact with the coolers block. Indeed, Arctic's mounting frame does a better job than the stock one, and this is clearly shown by the CPU's power consumption readings. This table shows the MSRP prices for all Liquid Freezer 3 models. The EU prices include VAT. The box is unusually shaped to accommodate the cooler's large radiator. On each face there is a scheme of the cooler along with its model number and some more data regarding the provided guarantee and socket compatibility. Around the back you will find more details on the product's technical specifications. There are also two QR codes on this side, one leading to the online manual and the second to the support and feedback link. The bundle includes the necessary mounting hardware, a small thermal paste tube Arctic MX6 and a T20 driver. The all-in-one comes with the fans pre-installed and with all of their cabling in place, saving you some time during the installation process, which also becomes easier. Typically, the block hosts the cooling pump and has all the necessary circuits to power the VRM fan and its RGB lighting, which is secured in place magnetically. The tubes leaving the pump can be easily adjusted in angle to meet your system's requirements. The block's base is relatively small and made of copper for better heat transfer. This is why AMD's Threadripper CPUs are not supported. The radiator is thicker than usual with a depth of 38mm, but it is not so dense, hence it doesn't require high static pressure fans for optimal performance. The fans can spin up to 900 RPM with 70 CFM and 2mm aqua static pressure. These are the official values. I might remove them at some point and check on the Longwin machine to see if these values stand. The VRM fan is large, so I expect it to offer good cooling around the CPU socket area. Its speed is PWM controlled, varying from 400 to 2500 RPM. This is an extensive range. Installation. To avoid all cable mess, you can use the all-in-one PWM cable, which takes care of the pump, the VRM fan and the radiator fans. If you want to control everything separately, connect the respective connectors to mainboard headers or use a dedicated PWM controller like the Corsair Commander Core XT. You must remove the stock brackets and install the bundled ones for the AMD sockets. The brackets are labeled L for left and R for right. Since the hotspot in newer generation AMD processors is not in the dead center, the AMD mounting brackets have a 5mm offset to achieve better performance. For Intel sockets, removing the mainboard from the chassis is better to have an easier time since you have to remove the stock Intel Independent Loading Mechanism, ILM. Arctic provides instructions on how to replace the stock ILM mechanism. It is not as straightforward as the AMD procedure, but the provided contact frame promises to do a better job than the stock one. Noise level 100% and 70% of maximum speed. Noise output is low for an all-in-one. It is in the air cooling territory. Noise level according to fan speed. The higher the RPM in this chart, the better. Arctic's cooler doesn't score high RPMs in any of these graphs. Frequency plots, 10% fan speed. The peak frequency is at 20 kHz. I also noticed increased noise in this frequency in the Freezer 3 280. 20% fan speed, peak frequency 20 kHz. 30% fan speed, peak frequency 20 kHz. Peak frequency range 160 to 800 Hz. 40% fan speed, peak frequency 20 kHz. Peak frequency range 160 to 800 Hz. 50% fan speed. Peak frequency range 160 to 1250 Hz. 60% fan speed. Peak frequency range 160 to 2500 Hz. 70% fan speed. Peak frequency range 250 to 2500 Hz. 80% fan speed. Peak frequency range 250 to 2500 Hz. 90% fan speed. Peak frequency range 250 to 2250 Hz. 100% fan speed. Peak frequency range 250 to 2250 Hz. Signal recordings. I have recorded all signals, but I have enabled automatic gain control to make it easier for you to reproduce them. Normalized noise tests. Intel first. CPU temperatures. The temperatures are low, but it cannot beat the Cooler Master Atmos 360. CPU frequencies are pretty high. CPU wattage. The Liquid Freezer 3 420 allowed for the highest power consumption because of the better lock mechanism. AMD results. CPU temperature. The Arctic cooler achieves the lowest temperatures in the AMD platform. CPU frequency. As expected, the large Arctic cooler allows for the highest CPU clocks. CPU wattage is the highest with the Arctic cooler. Overall performance. Intel. To calculate each cooler's overall performance, I take into account three factors: the CPU's temperature, wattage, and frequency. Each chart shows the cooler under test as 100% and every other product's performance as relative to it. Overall performance is impressive, but the Cooler Master Atmos stands strong despite the smaller radiator. Performance per price. Intel. Thanks to the currently running promo prices, the Liquid Freezer 3 420 A-RGB achieves a high performance per price. With the standard price though, it doesn't achieve a high score. In AMD, the overall relative performance is high. Performance per price. AMD. The promo Arctic prices kill the competition, but they will end soon. The Arctic Liquid Freezer 3 420 A-RGB is silent, it offers good performance, and its promo price is very good. Given the price per performance graph though, I cannot say the same for its normal price. Still, Arctic might adjust the prices on all Liquid Freezer all-in-ones after the promo period. There are some assets that this all-in-one has, which I can mention again here. For starters, it has a fan to cool down the mainboard's VRMs, which can get pretty hot given that Intel's high-end CPUs can draw more than 360 Watt if you dial high enough the PL1 and PL2 BIOS settings. Ignore what the mainboard sensors say. I measure CPU power consumption directly from the respective PSU connectors to get the complete picture. Besides the VRM fan, another strong point of this all-in-one is that it provides an LGA 7000 contact frame in the coolers bundle to replace the stock one, offering better contact with the CPU. The non-stock contact frame does a way better job than the stock one, and this is also shown by the CPU power consumption, which is notably higher in the Liquid Freezer 3 models compared to other coolers I have evaluated so far. The better contact unlocks the CPU's potential, so it asks for more power. The only problem here is that the cooler's installation in Intel systems is not as straightforward, and it will be easier if you remove the mainboard from the system, which is what Arctic suggests. I should emphasize that this cooler doesn't support other Intel sockets but the LGA 7000 one, so it won't be compatible if you use an older Intel system. Speaking of installation, the fact that the all-in-one comes with the fans pre-installed and all of their cables in place will significantly relieve many users, especially the not so experienced ones. Moreover, you can use the all-in-one connector to control everything through a single header. I wouldn't advise that because it is better to have the VRM fan controlled separately since it has a small diameter and can spin at high speeds, hence it can be annoying if its speed is paired with a notably slower radiator fans. The ARGB lighting is the cherry on top, especially for users with systems that expose their internals. If you are searching for fans for your all-in-one or chassis, read my best cooling fans article on hwbusters.com. You will find the full review of this cooler on our site hwbusters.com. That is all. Bye bye.